Hello everyone, I am Saras Pandey, and in this video I'm going to show how to create a simple SRS report and deploy it to SRS server. So in my previous session I've already covered how to configure the SRS environment, and other than that I've also covered how to create a folder to deploy your reports inside it, and also how to create a data source for your report, right? So let me click on this data source, and this data source is connected to my SQL 2012 instance, and initial catalog is AdventureWorks 2012 database. Okay, and my report server is although different. My report server is SQL 2016 instance, and it has my report server and report server tempdb databases. Okay, so to create a report, I'm gonna use report builder, and if you have missed my previous session, then I'll provide the link of my previous session in the description, so that you can go ahead and click on that link and see my previous session, and then come back and check how to create a simple report. So let me open the report builder. And my report builder will connect to my report server URL, because you can see the URL here. Because I have given the default URL, but if I have some other report server and I want to deploy the report on some other server, I can still go ahead and do that. So let me close that. So to create a report, you need few things. You need a data source. So the source of the data from where it will go and fetch the data, right? So in my case, it is going to be SQL 2012 instance. So let me right click on that and create a data source. So I'll change the name of the data source. I'll say DS report 1. And I'm going to use the default data source that I have created for my environment. So this is the default data source. If I'll click on home, you can see the data source here. So I'll select that, and then I'll use this data source, and using this data source I'll create a data source for my report. So let me test connection. It is successful. Let me click on OK. Now, as I have already created the data source, now I have to create a data set. So let me click on data set, and the name I'll change to Dataset report. Okay, and I'm going to use the data set which is embedded in my report. So let me click on that, and now I can see my data source that I have created just now. Okay, so for query type, you can either use text, table, or stored procedure. If you'll click on stored procedure, then from the drill down, you can select the procedure that you want to use for this report. For this demo, I'm going to use the text. So I am going to select the records from person.address table. So let me refresh fields, click on OK. So this is my data set. So now I'm going ahead and inserting a table. So I've created a table here. Let me bring my table to the corner, and I'm going to use address ID, city, state, and postal code. And I'll give some title to my report. I'll say address report. I'll make it bold, and I'll just decrease the font size. Okay, so now my report is ready. So if I'll click on run, you can see the result. Okay, so this is the result. But right now it is just fetching the entire table. It doesn't have any parameter or anything to filter the records, right? So if I want to create a parameter, suppose I want to create a filter on address ID. So I'll have to go back to my data set, and I'll have to include a where clause where address ID is equals to address ID. So as soon as I'll refresh this and click on OK, it will create a parameter here. So if I'll run the report now, it will not go ahead and run directly. It will ask for the address IDs. Okay, if I'll give one, and if I click on view report, now I can see the report for address ID 1. But if I want to go ahead and select the report for multiple address IDs, so right now I'm gonna get an error, and this is the error that I'm getting because if you'll see my dataset query, let me go and check the properties. Here I have created a, I have the equality clause, right? So in equality clause, you cannot compare multiple address IDs. So I'll have to change it to in. Let me refresh fields again, click on OK. And now if I'll go ahead and run the report, if I'll give 1, 2, okay, just a second. Before doing that, I'll have to do something in the parameter properties as well. So I'll have to check the allow multiple values checkbox here. So let me click on OK and go ahead and run the report again. Okay. So now it is asking for, for a drill down list. I don't have any drill down list yet, right? So let me create a drill down list first. Okay. So for that, I'll create one more data set, and I just need the address ID. So I'll select distinct address ID from person dot address. Okay. Now I'll go to my parameter properties, and it's an integer, and available values will be from dataset 1, address ID, label is also address ID. Okay, default values, I'm not going to give any default values for now. Let me click on OK, and let me click on run again. Okay. So now I can see the values in drill down list, right? So let me select all and click on view report. Okay, it is taking some time, but in few seconds it will start loading the data. So let's wait for another 5-6 seconds. Yes, now it is doing it. So now it is rendering the report, and I'm not expecting it to take much time. So probably another 4-5 seconds it should complete. So earlier, as you would have seen that this report for all the address IDs, it completed much faster, because earlier it was not doing any filtration, right? Although we are selecting all the data, but still it will have to go and check each and every address IDs, right? So that is why it is taking more time. So, but now I can see the report. I can see the complete report, right? So let me go back to design again, and let me go to parameter properties, and default values, get a value from query, dataset, address ID. So if I'll give all the address IDs for default values, then as soon as I'll click on run, it will run the report for all the address IDs. So let me click on that. Okay, it is taking some time, so let's wait for a few seconds, and now it is loading the data. Okay, I'm expecting it to complete in another. Okay, it is already completed. So now, as you can see, all the address IDs are selected, but I can still go ahead and select the IDs that I need, and I'll click on view report. Now it is running the report, and now I have the report for these 3 address IDs, right? Okay. So rather than giving all the values, I can go ahead and specify some value. So if I'll click on add and specify any value 1, then I'll specify 2 as well. Click on OK, then it will go ahead and run the report for these 2 values. And then I can later go ahead and change these values and run the report for some other values. So if you don't need any default value and you want to select it manually and then want to run the report, then just go ahead and select this no default value radio button and click on OK. So now if you'll run that, it will ask you for the uh, address ID values, and you'll have to select the values, and then it will run the report for the values that you have selected. Okay. So this is how you can create a parametric report. So it's going to show you how exactly you can deploy this report to your report server. So let me, click on file here. Let me click on save as. Okay, so this is my report server URL. If I'll deploy the report here, it will create the report on my SRS URL, and I can go ahead and use my report URL and browse the report from there. So I'm gonna create this report inside the reports folder, and I'm gonna change the name to address report and click on save. So now it is saved. So let me go back to my report server URL. I'll go inside reports folder. So I can see my report here. If I'll click on this, it will run the report. Okay, so I can select the values from drop down list. Okay, it is not showing, it is taking some time. Okay, now it is reflecting. It is too slow right now because I'm running lots of other things in background. Okay, let it take some time. It should not take much time, I guess. Okay, it is not allowing me to do anything right now. Okay, let me refresh this page. It's not even refreshing the page. Okay, now it is doing it. Okay, so let me click on drop down list again. Let it come. Okay, so I'll select 33, 475, 502, and I'll click on view report, and it is loading the report now. Okay, so this is my report. Now I want to fetch this report in PDF format or in Excel format or CSV format. Then I can go, I can do that. I can fetch the records in Excel format, PDF format, and many other formats. So let me fetch this report in Excel format. So I click on save as, and I can save the report. So this is how you can create a report and deploy the report to your report server URL, and then you can fetch the report in various formats. So this is what I wanted to cover in this session, and in next session I'll cover how to create a more complex report, or I'll also cover how to create a chart report. Okay, thank you for watching this.